As you might be able to tell from the scribble part of my channel name, I really enjoy making art. Ever since I started consistently doing art on my iPad, I wanted one of those fancy half gloves that all of the professionals wear, but to get a nice one it was going to be way more money than I was willing to spend. And then Elle hit me with the obvious solution: make it yourself. There was a small part of me that nearly didn't make a mock-up for this. It's just a glove. Not even that, it's just half a glove. How hard could it be, I asked. The answer is that this project turned out to be a real handful. Wink. So for the first mock-up, I simply traced around the part of my hand that I wanted, cut it from some muslin, and sewed it together. But here's an interesting fact that I learned during this process. Hands are three-dimensional objects. I physically could not get my hand into the first mock-up. I tried making it a bit wider for a second mock-up, but I could not get it to cooperate. Then I had a kind of silly idea. What do I do when I have no idea what shape a flat draft should be? I drape it. So I laid my hand down over a piece of muslin and put another piece on top, and started pinning the pieces together around my fingers. I feel like this is one of those times where I should tell you don't try this at home, but this is a tutorial of sorts, so I'm kind of telling you to literally try this at home. I don't know, basically pins and scissors are sharp, so be careful if you do this. Once I had the basic shape pinned, I traced out where the seams would be, cut it up, and then roughly stitched it together. After trying that on, I knew that I had to make the fingers a little wider and longer, but I was finally on the right track. So I cut up the mock-up and traced the pieces onto paper, adding the changes I made before moving on to the fourth mock-up. If you're making a glove of your own, I'd recommend not to cut out the fingers until after it has all been stitched together. I found the whole thing a lot more stable and it was a lot easier to sew the little spot between the fingers that way. I also recommend basting it together before sewing, because trying to navigate pins under the machine on such a small piece of fabric can be super fiddly. And yes, as you would have noticed by now, I am using the machine for this. This was also before we got the fancy new machine. When you see the material I was working with for the final, you'll see why I did not want to hand sew this. I'm gonna skim through the rest of the mock-up process, as it was a lot of making little changes, trying it on, making more little changes until I finally got the fit I wanted. Here's a quick comparison of the patterns and mock-ups I went through before starting the final one. And to think, I nearly didn't make a mock-up at all! So here's what I'm making the actual glove out of. It's basically a microfiber cloth. This one was specifically designed for cleaning records, but it's the same sort of material you get for cleaning phone screens and glasses and the like. I wanted something that would help my hand glide smoothly across the screen of the tablet, and it had the added bonus of keeping the screen pretty clean too. But let me just say this now. I hate this material. I hated working with it. Now that it's done, I love the glove, but this material sucks for sewing. It doesn't fray, but more kind of disintegrates. The piece as a whole isn't really stretchy, but cut a strip of it and it does whatever this is. I couldn't use pins because it doesn't heal like regular fabric does. If I make any sort of hole in it, that hole is there to stay. I used my rotary cutter to cut out the pattern pieces and clip them together before sewing. Because of the issues I had with the material, I wasn't able to follow my own advice and baste it together, so I had to hope the clips would keep it all together well enough. Overall, this was definitely the easiest part of the project. Once it was all sewn together, I trimmed it all up and turned it right side out, and I had myself a glove. The glove doesn't look like much, but it's already made a huge difference in my comfort level while drawing on my iPad. My hand no longer drags against the screen, but instead glides smoothly and easily. I don't get sweat and body oils all over my screen, and the iPad doesn't pick up my hand as a potential input. It's made doing art so much more pleasant. And because of that, I have an exciting announcement to make. So as I mentioned in my previous video, I am very excited to announce that my historical sewing stickers are officially back in stock, as well as some brand new designs and a limited stock of some fancy vinyl stickers of my Stays Before Bays and Baby Got Bustle designs. I've wanted to design and make stickers for a really long time, but have never had the ability to. I was finally able to justify the purchase of a gorgeous Cricut machine and did a first run of my historical sewing stickers a few months ago. I was so thrilled with how they all turned out, and I knew I had to make more. So I've added to the shop these notions and accessories designs. I wanted to make some cute, simple designs of different sewing bits and bobs. So we have some buttons and some thread and cute little stalk scissors and all sorts of cute things. I'm really pleased with how these turned out, and I think they're going to look so cute on bullet journals and sewing planners and even on sewing machines and things like that, whatever you want to stick them to. Also in the shop is a couple of vinyl stickers. The regular stickers are on a paper-like material, so you can't get them wet or anything like that. The vinyl stickers are on vinyl, obviously, so they can take a little bit more of a beating, so you could probably put them on your phones and water bottles and things like that. If there's a lot of interest in these, I will release some more designs. So if you're interested in claiming some of these stickers for yourself, follow the link in the description to the shop. I am so thrilled to be able to share these with you guys, and I definitely plan on making some more soon. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget that if you want to support the channel, you can follow the link to my Ko-fi page, where you can help the channel to grow through a small donation. Here's to an exciting new year, and I can't wait to see you all in my next video, which may or may not include a special guest. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on the excitement.